This presentation will provide an overview of Pacent's dynamic math solution. Pacent Learning Solutions is a company formed by former math teachers and technologists. The name Pacent represents paced ascent.
Our goal is to support teachers to guide their students to a greater understanding of mathematics and to empower students to take an active role in their own learning.
We achieve this by providing students clear weekly performance goals, specific weekly feedback, targeted resources for improvement, and multiple opportunities to demonstrate mastery for credit.
The Pacent method has 5 key components or pillars:
Collaborative instructional planning,
common weekly spiraling formative assessments,
weekly reports for all stakeholders,
an integrated intervention program, and for secondary schools a dynamic placement strategy. Let's start by looking at collaborative instructional planning. Collaborative planning begins with the creation of a year-long pacing plan.
The year-long pacing plan should answer the following questions. What do we want our students to be able to do?
How will we measure student progress?
What resources do we have to support student learning?
Ongoing collaborative planning provides teachers with the opportunity to manage the implementation of the year-long pacing plan. This includes
monitoring student progress
and sharing strategies for initial and review instruction.
We've made setting up a yearly pacing easy. Pacent has created 50 to 60 standards-based concepts for each grade level. They are stored in a database. For this example, you can see 6 concept titles. You can create your own custom pacing by clicking and dragging the concepts to your calendar in the sequence you prefer. We call this the dynamic math solution because it is easy to customize to your preferences and easy to modify as needed throughout the school year. This approach provides maximum local control to align with textbooks and teaching philosophy, while maintaining fidelity to the standards.
The last thing we do to complete the annual math pacing is create a blueprint for each of the interim assessments. Students take an interim assessment every 9 weeks. The blueprint indicates the number of questions that will be related to each concept. Unlike the weekly formative assessments, which are free response, the interim assessments are comprised of multiple choice or simple constructed response items.
In summary, working with a team of your teachers, we can set up each grade level in a matter of hours. You will get a year-long pacing guide, aligned to your calendar and mapped to your textbook. You will get approximately 30 weekly spiraling assessments, 30 alternate forms, 30 practice assessments, and 60 intervention assessments. You will get 4 interim assessments. Each concept is supported by a Pacent home support lesson, intended for students to use at home when they struggle with the concept. We provide more than 100 supplemental lessons per grade level. This year we will be producing short, how-to videos that students, teachers, and parents will be able to access online. All of these resources are organized around your pacing. If you change your pacing, the rest of the resources realign themselves dynamically.
We recommend that teams of teachers meet weekly to discuss the implementation of the pacing plan. Collaboration amongst teachers is enhanced when they share common student performance objectives and common tools for monitoring progress. We refer to our collaborative meetings as a SCIP, which stands for Structured Collaborative Instructional Planning. The purpose of a SCIP is to promote professional relationships and facilitate the adoption of best practices, thus creating a common vision for how to best serve our students. In this example, our first SCIP will focus on strategies to teach the properties of operations and absolute value. The following week, our second SCIP will focus on new concepts related to integers as well as dedicate time to review student performance on the previously taught content. Our third SCIP will focus on working with expressions as well as reteaching strategies for the concepts from the prior 2 weeks.
This process provides a team of teachers with clearly defined common teaching objectives, clearly defined criteria for student success, and an organized systematic approach to provide intervention. This approach provides the structure that allows your PLC to thrive.
Now let's take a closer look at how the weekly formative spiraling assessments are used to increase student engagement and promote self-learning.
The next few slides will provide an overview of how the Pacent spiraling formative assessments work. Formative assessment items are all free response and are graded using a 4-point rubric. We included a single multiple-choice style question each week in order to provide exposure to this question format. We have grade-level programs for both the Common Core Math Standards and the California Math Standards.
The purpose of this demonstration is to illustrate how the spiraling process works. For this purpose we have simplified both the sample problems and the rubric. This sample assessment would have been administered after the first week of school. The concept is adding and subtracting integers. Students complete the assessment by showing all of their work. In this case the student made an error on item number 1 and got item number 2 correct, so they might have earned 2 out of 4 points on the concept of adding and subtracting integers. This is all pretty standard stuff. However, in order to call these assessments formative, then they must become a tool for student learning. We provide students with a report each week that shows their progress on each concept. This is a simplified version of the weekly report. You can see that students get feedback based on the concept, not the unit or chapter. You can also see that there are a number of boxes to the right of each concept. This is because students can get up to 5 attempts on each concept. This student earned 2 points on his first attempt at adding and subtracting integers. The last column to the right shows the student summarized or total grade for each concept. At this moment in time the student has 2 points. However, as our demonstration will show, the student gets several opportunities to correct his mistakes and demonstrate mastery.
This assessment represents the second assessment in the 3-week spiral. What we mean by spiraling assessments with multiple opportunities is that students automatically get a second and third attempt on each concept, embedded in each weekly formative assessment. You can see that the concept for test items 3 and 4 is adding and subtracting integers, which was introduced last week. This represents the second opportunity to demonstrate mastery. The new concept for this week is multiplying and dividing integers. Again, when students take the assessment we expect to see all of their work. When scoring the assessment this student demonstrated mastery on multiplying and dividing integers, so he earned a 4. However, with regards to adding and subtracting integers he's shown some improvement, but he still needs review. Whenever we assess student learning we always give the student a report, so each student can see both their successes and the areas where they need to improve. On the concept of adding and subtracting integers the student gets credit for his improvement. In fact, students always get credit for their best score. The scores are not averaged, so a poor score does not permanently hold a student's grade down. Note that on the student report a new row is added for multiplying and dividing integers. In this case the student scored a perfect 4. His student report will show that he has shown single mastery, which means that he has demonstrated mastery 1 time.
This is the third assessment. With this assessment we will be able to complete our demonstration on how spiraling assessments work. Note that the concept for items 5 and 6 is adding and subtracting integers. This is the third and final class-wide attempt on this concept. As with previous weeks we ask students to show us all of their work. When scoring the assessment we see that the student needs additional practice working with expressions. The student has demonstrated mastery on the concept of multiplying and dividing integers. Lastly, we see that the student has not demonstrated mastery with adding and subtracting integers. The weekly report shows that the student has yet to achieve mastery on adding and subtracting integers. After the 3 in-class attempts, he will be invited to a targeted intervention lesson on these concepts. I will discuss interventions in detail in a few minutes. The important point is to note that students are invited to intervention based on their performance. The other item of note on this slide is that the student has demonstrated mastery twice on the concept of multiplying and dividing integers. This is double mastery. When a student gets double mastery they earn the bonus point for that concept. Earlier we mentioned that students always get credit for their best score. If they earn the bonus then they get their best score plus the bonus. The bonus is not extra credit. All concepts are worth 5 points. In order to earn a top score students are expected to demonstrate double mastery to get the 5th point.
In summary, weekly common formative spiraling assessments guide discussions in a PLC. They promote continuous improvement in teaching and learning. The use of spiraling assessments sends a clear message to students that continuous learning, effort, and improvement are important traits for academic success. Parents appreciate knowing how their children are doing and what resources are available to support their learning. Teachers are able to set high expectations and provide targeted whole class and individual review instruction.
We demonstrated some of the reporting in the section on formative assessments. Now let's take a closer look at a few of the reports in more detail.
We saw a simplified version of the weekly student report in the last section on spiraling formative assessments. This is an example of an actual student report. The first column shows the concept. Columns 2 to 6 display student performance on each attempt on each concept. Column 7 shows the number of bonus points the student has earned. A bonus point is earned when the student achieves double mastery. This is not extra credit. The 8th column shows the student's summarized or total performance on each concept. Students always get credit for their best score. If they have scored mastery on 2 occasions, then they get their best score plus the bonus point. Column 9 shows the student's score as a percent. It is important to remember that each section is worth 5 points after their second attempt, so double mastery is required to get 100%. Column 10 informs students whether they have single mastery, double mastery, or have work left to do. Column 11 provides a study tip. This lets students know where they can look in their textbook for help on each concept. Column 12 shows whether or not the student needs to attend intervention. Students that have not demonstrated mastery are invited to intervention on the date shown. I'll talk more about intervention shortly. The main purpose of the weekly report is to inform students on both their progress and the resources available for improvement.
The class summary report allows the teachers to monitor both individual progress and the progress of the whole class. Across the top we have all of the weekly concepts. In the interest of saving space, we've listed just the concept numbers, but rolling your mouse over each concept number will display the concept title. The second row shows the percent of students in this class that have demonstrated mastery on the concept. We use color coding to help teachers quickly identify areas where review is needed. The next 2 rows show the count of students that have and have not demonstrated mastery. The next row shows the points possible on each concept. The body of the report shows each student's best score on each concept. Scores in the color orange indicate that mastery has not been achieved. The last 4 columns summarize each student's performance across all concepts. The main purpose of the class summary report is to provide teachers with a quick snapshot on how each student is doing, and which concepts are in greatest need for review.
Pacent Reporter is the web-based learning management system we use to manage our program. Pacent Reporter has a number of other reports not shown in this demonstration, including predictive reports on student proficiency, reports on who needs to attend intervention, and web-based access for students and parents. Other features Pacent Reporter provides: support for all subjects, attendance and citizenship reporting, district, school or class calendar, the ability to post resources you want students to be able to access at home.
Now that we've seen how the formative assessments and reporting works, let's take a look at Pacent's intervention program. The Pacent intervention program is different from most intervention programs on the market. Let's quickly review how the spiraling formative assessments work. Students were assessed on adding and subtracting integers on the first assessment. On the second assessment, students had their second attempt on the concept of adding and subtracting integers. On test 3, students had their third attempt to demonstrate mastery on the concept of adding and subtracting integers. Every concept is assessed 3 times in the spiral. Students still needing help on this concept are invited to attend an intervention class to review adding and subtracting integers. In this example, this class will occur on Wednesday, September 29th. There will be a new intervention class every Wednesday for the rest of the school year. If we look at formative assessment number 4, we see that the concept of multiplying and dividing integers is going to fall out of the weekly spiral, so this will be the intervention review concept for Wednesday, October 6th. The third intervention class will be on Wednesday, October 13th. And so forth.
Now that you've seen the intervention schedule, you may be wondering what intervention looks like and how it is integrated into the student grade. The intervention class consists of a targeted review lesson for approximately 45 minutes, and then students are given their fourth attempt to demonstrate mastery. The assessment is typically short with only 2 to 6 items. One of the unique aspects to this approach to intervention is that students get credit for any improvement, so they see the benefit of their efforts in the weekly report, and in their grade. In this example, the student has completed the assessment without error, so he has earned a 4. This will be reflected in his weekly report, and his summary or total grade will change to a 4, indicating that he has demonstrated single mastery.
In summary, the Pacent Integrated Intervention Program provides targeted support to students who have demonstrated a need for additional practice on a specific concept. Students are invited to attend based on their performance, and not on their perceived standing as high or low students. Students have an incentive to demonstrate mastery prior to the intervention in order to avoid being invited to attend. Students see value associated with their effort. Their weekly report will show their improvement on each concept. As concepts are mastered, the overall class grade improves as well.
The last pillar is dynamic and strategic placement. In secondary settings, we combine state performance data and local assessment data to place students in the best possible class to maximize their growth. Many placement strategies place low-performing students in low classes for an entire semester or year. Pacent uses the weekly formative data and the interim performance data to try to bridge students back to grade-level expectations when they are ready, even if it doesn't align with the semester. We can provide more details on our direct support model and our ideas on parallel curriculum upon request. In closing, our method is designed to promote continuous improvement model. We use common formative spiraling assessments and weekly reporting as a tool to engage all stakeholders in a process of defining goals, monitoring progress, and implementing solutions to continually improve teaching and learning. Our model starts with planning and teaching, then assessing learning. Analyze and report the results. Use this analysis to determine where intervention is needed.
Thank you for taking the time to view an overview of the dynamic math solution. For more information regarding using purchasing our solution, math coaching, or if we can be of any other assistance, please contact Keith Smith. Have a great day.